Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Glad to see y'all. Welcome to Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. Piedmont UU sits on the traditional lands of the Kiowa, Shugari, and Catawba people. My name is Robin Mara, and I'll be worship assistant today for Reverend Dr. Amy Rio. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation, which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual development, spiritual growth, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope our liberal religious values, we hope our deep religious values will challenge you to join us as a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all our visitors and members, we're very glad you're here, in person or with us online. Your presence is a gift to us. We have some announcements for this Sunday. We'll have a blessing of the animals here on our patio today at 2 o'clock. Please join us and invite any furry animal friends that you have with their human friends. Ann Lakaitis, would you please come forward? She's going to share about a possible revision to our bylaws.
Good morning, everyone. I have a petition that I am asking members to sign regarding a change to the church bylaws. And it's an important one. It's a bylaw to allow digital and electronic voting. In the past, our current bylaws allow only in-person voting. And that's not realistic for us right now because we have members attending live stream, members in Salisbury, members who can't be here for any other reason. So this is an important amendment, and if you are willing to sign it, come see me. I'll be up here after the service, and I've actually got the first 3 signatures already. So this is really important because actually at the last congregational meeting, we were not in compliance with our bylaws. And so that this is important to rectify that. And we want to be sure that we broaden our voting membership as broadly as possible so that we have everyone participating who wants to participate. Thanks.
Thank you, Ann. For other important information about our vibrant community, please see your order of service, or if you're on our email list, please check our monthly newsletter and weekly email announcements. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
Let us hear now these words from Michelle Collins. As we light this chalice with its freely shared light and freely shared warmth, let us be reminded of the many things that are freely shared with us and that we freely share with others. May we lean into generosity shaped from the heart that can warm all around us. Please join me now in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith. Thank you so much, Anne, as always, for that beautiful centering. I invite us now to please stand. Our call to worship is found in our order of service, and it is a unison reading for all of us to share together this morning. So let us now join together. We come together with grateful hearts for the gift of this day. All life is gift, each breath, each sight, each sound. We expect nothing in exchange for friendship, for the presence of sunshine and flowers and a cool breeze. With thankful minds, bodies, and souls, we give thanks for the generosity of this day and the presence of beloved community. Let us remain standing as you're willing or able. Our first hymn is number 16 in our gray hymnals, and we will sing this through twice. Yes. Please be simple. Please be simple. Okay. Let's all be simple and be seated. I, at this time, invite any children who are here, if you'd like to come join me up front. Well, good morning. So it's good to see all of you today. How are y'all doing?
Good. My sister's doing good too.
Lizzie, you doing well? You doing good? All right. Well, I'm so happy to see all of you. And this morning, I wanted to share a story. So, like I usually do, right? But it's a story. It's an old story that comes from some Jewish sacred writings called the Talmud. It's actually inspired by those. And so this is a story about a very old woman named Talia. All right, she is just really getting up there. In fact, she's a great-grandmother, so she's lived a long time. And Talia's getting older, and so she likes to spend her day sitting on her front porch in her rocking chair and being comfortable. Do y'all like to sit in a rocking chair sometimes?
Yeah, I only like to sit in the rocking chair at my birthday.
Okay, yes, that's a good time to do that. But it's like a fun thing to do, to kind of sit in a rocking chair. And so she's sitting there, and she would, if neighbors came by or friends, she would talk about stories from all the days that went by. And she would think of all the happy memories that she had. And then one morning, she had a big idea that just popped in her head. So she made a phone call, and then a few hours later, the doorbell rang, and there was a young man there who had this kind of tall, skinny parcel. So it was about this high from the ground, and it was kind of skinny and all wrapped in this kind of brown paper. So she paid him, and he went his way. So what do you think that she had delivered? What's your guess?
I'm guessing that she delivered a thing with like those like things like a little bomb top. I think she delivered that, but like a little skinny old brown wrapper.
That's a good guess. You have any ideas what you think? What you think? A broom. A broom. That's a very good guess.
I think a baby tree.
Have you read this story, Amanda? Have you? Boy, have you? You are absolutely right. It was a baby tree. I didn't think anyone would guess that. I know. Okay. And so what she did is she had a spade, and she got in her front yard, and there were some other trees in her front yard too. But she dug the spade, and she unwrapped the paper, and then she put this baby tree down into the ground, and some of y'all may have helped plant trees or flowers. You know how we do that.
I have.
You have, yes. That's a good thing to do.
But instead of trees or flowers, I planted food.
Food's a really great thing to plant. Yes, we all need to help feed ourselves, and gardens are wonderful. Yeah, I know your mom was a good gardener, so.
I planted a potato.
A potato.
That's
Wow.
why I have strawberries.
Yeah, and strawberries. So now this was a special kind of tree she planted because she lived in a part of the Middle East, because this is where these stories came from with the Jewish community back in that time. And it was something called an almond tree. Have y'all eaten almonds before?
I like almonds and pie.
Almonds and pies? Yeah, I like almonds and lots of things. I love almonds. So, yeah. Yeah, some people don't like them. Yeah. You're picky? Okay. Almond milk, yes, which comes from almonds.
Well, no chocolate milk.
Yes. So we don't really have almond trees around here because we don't have the right climate. But what would happen is Talia had always had a big almond tree. Her grandmother had planted one. And so as she sat on her rocking chair and on that porch, and she thought about all the good memories she had had with the almond tree that her grandmother had planted. Now, one of her neighbors came by and said, "Talia, why are you planting a tree at your age? It won't even produce almonds for years, and you'll be long gone by the time many almonds come around." And so Talia just laughed, and then she pointed over to the corner of her yard where there was a really old almond tree. And Talia said, "I'm like that old almond tree. My great-grandmother loved it. I loved to climb it when I was a little girl, and its branches were broad and safe, and I felt strong there. Then when I was a young woman, I picked some of its delicate pink blossom, and I decorated my hair with them." Right? And I think that's how I met my husband. And then she kept telling more and more stories about how important the almond tree had been in her life. Not just giving almonds, but all the other ways it had given shade and brought her joy. And then she said, "Now, I'm a great-grandmother now. I have lots of time on my hands. I like to remember things, and I'm happy with my life. But a little while ago, I realized I looked out into my yard and my garden. I had never planted a tree, and it just didn't seem right. I have great-grandchildren, and they need an almond tree. Even though I'll be gone by the time the almonds come along, my great-grandchildren and their children can enjoy this tree." So Talia knew she wouldn't be able to really enjoy the fruits of the tree, but other people would be able to do that. So what do y'all think about that? Doing something that even if we can't benefit from it, it will help someone else. Do you think that's a good thing for us to do?
Because if you didn't do that, people won't get to do anything else.
Are there some things that you think you can enjoy in your own life that someone else did and they've made it possible for you to be able to enjoy it? A blueberry bush, right? And someone else had planted that. You didn't plant it, right? Oh, you did plant one. Okay. And people are going to enjoy that for many years. So there's lots of things as we go throughout this next week or so. I'd like for y'all to think about some things that you are thankful for and that you can enjoy, and it's possible because someone else did that for you. And it may have been that someone did it even before you were born, but it helps make your life even more wonderful now. So, well, let's give thanks for all the people who have done so much to try to help us out and make our life better, even if they never met us or had no idea who we might be one day. They wanted to help make the world better for all the children of the world.
Amen.
Amen. Absolutely like you, like all three of you. Like your mom, yes.
And my dad.
Yes.
And my dad.
Yes, all your wonderful families. Well, thank y'all so much. Enjoyed talking to you, and I'll see you after the service. We have now come to the time in our service for ritual and sacred sharing, a time where we share our joys and our sorrows and our concerns and milestones. For this week, we light a candle for Gail H. She is in the hospital, and she's in the university hospital and has been there a few days. She will have a cancerous spot removed on Tuesday. And so you can speak to me afterwards if you'd like her room number or contact information. I know she's happy to hear from people. We also light a candle for Chris S. with recent health concerns that she's been having. For Michelle M. as she continues to recover from her fall. For Teresa R.'s mother, Bernie, who is dealing with ongoing health concerns and is currently hospitalized up in Asheville. For Henry and Tanya, both with upcoming surgeries in the next couple weeks. For the ongoing struggle for civil rights in Iran. For this time of our Generosity Pledge campaign as we make financial plans for our future year. For everyone impacted by the earthquakes in Afghanistan. For all areas of violence around the world, including the war in Ukraine, and especially the violence that has erupted with Israel and Palestine. And we pray for a peaceful and just resolution, and especially for all the innocent civilians who are being impacted in so many terrible ways. Now at this time, I invite you to come forward as you would like to do so. You may fill out a prayer card and place it on our prayer wall. You may drop a stone into our shared water, or you may light your own candle of joy or concern. We light a few more candles at this time for the things we hold in our own hearts, which remain unspoken, and also for those who are joining us virtually to honor what is in their hearts as well. Now, as we enter into a time of silence with quiet rest, meditation, or prayer, we will follow the sound of the singing bowl. And during this time of silence, I would like to encourage you this morning to imagine that you are like a tree. During the fall, trees lose their leaves, and things might even look a little bit dead or not movement on the outside above ground. But in the fall, they are really concentrating on their roots. And the roots of trees strengthen and grow during this season. So during this time of silence, I invite you to imagine that you are becoming more rooted and grounded to the earth, and that core foundation is strengthening, so that thus our hands and our hearts, everything else, can continue to grow and expand as we share generosity and love with others around us.
For today's wisdom reading, we have selections from The Serviceberry, An Economy of Abundance by Robin Wall Kimmerer. In the presence of a plethora of berries, gratitude is the intuitive first response. The gratitude flows toward our plant elders and radiates to the rain, to the sunshine, to the improbability of bushes spangled with morsels of sweetness in a world that can be bitter. Gratitude is so much more than a polite thank you. It is the thread that connects us in a deep relationship, simultaneously physical and spiritual, as our bodies are fed and spirits nourished by the sense of belonging, which is the most vital of foods. Gratitude creates a sense of abundance, the knowing that you have what you need. In that climate of sufficiency, our hunger for more abates, and we take only what we need. If our first response is gratitude, then our second is reciprocity, to give a gift in return. What could I give these plants in return for their generosity? It could be a direct response, like weeding or water, or a song of thanks that sends appreciation out on the wind. Or indirect, like donating to my local land trust so that more habitat for the gift givers will be saved. Or making art that invites others into the web of reciprocity. Gratitude and reciprocity are the currency of a gift economy, and they have the remarkable property of multiplying with every exchange, a truly renewable resource. I accept the gift from the bush and then spread that gift with a dish of berries to my neighbor, who makes a pie to share with his friend, who feels so wealthy in food and friendship that he volunteers at the food pantry. You know how it goes. To name the world as a gift is to feel one's membership in the web of reciprocity. It makes you happy, and it makes you accountable. This is the power of gift thinking. I imagine if we acknowledge that everything we consume is the gift of Mother Nature and Mother Earth, we would take better care of what we're given. Mistreating a gift has emotional and ethical gravity, as well as ecological resonance. How we think ripples out into how we behave. If we view these berries or that coal or forest as an object, as property, it can be exploited as a commodity in a market economy. We know the consequences of that. Why then have we permitted the dominance of an economic system that commoditizes everything, that creates scarcity instead of abundance, that promotes accumulation rather than sharing? We've surrendered our values to an economic system that actively harms what we love. I'm wondering how we fix that, and I'm not alone.
Thank you, Robin. That reading by Robin Wall Kimmerer is she's an Indigenous author and writer, and has written Braiding Sweetgrass, which if you haven't read that, I know some of you have, yes, it's a great book. When you get a little bit older, honey, you can read it, okay? So it's a fantastic book. Yes, you can. I bet you can. So let's begin with a question. Can one be a billionaire and be ethical? It's a question I've seen in the media, or some form of that question, a number of times in recent years. Now, when I was growing up, I never imagined that someone could actually be a billionaire, right? Now, as our world faces the greatest income inequality we have known in modern history, and as even the middle class struggles to make ends meet, we are facing the real consequences of the worship of capitalism. Now, I know it's almost incomprehensible to imagine how someone can have billions of dollars. Adam Smith, who's an 18th century philosopher and known as the father of modern economics, would certainly have believed that such extreme income inequality with widespread poverty in our world was counter to the economic system that he envisioned. Now, Smith is often called the father of capitalist thinking, even though he never used the word capitalism. He explored a system where laborers worked and they generated income so that they could care for themselves. But that was only part of the picture of what he envisioned. And I think, as we know in our society today, that is where most people, when they think about capitalism and the modern economy, that's where they stop. Smith was very clear in stating that people in a modern economy would earn money for themselves, but they also had a responsibility to help benefit all society. Looking towards the benefit and care of others was equally as important as earning income to care for themselves. Smith wrote these words: "No society can surely be flourishing and happy, of which by far the greater part of the numbers are poor and miserable." Generosity, care for all of society, was central to this form of the modern economy which Smith envisioned and which we now coin capitalism. Now, as far as I know, no one is a billionaire who's participating in this worship service today. Now, I don't know who's watching online, and if you are, then we've got our pledge campaign going on. Come on. But this basic concept that Smith talks about, it holds true for all of us, no matter what economic level we might be on, and for the world that we hope to create, especially as we seek to live out our principles as a UU church. Now, our society has devolved into an economic system where everything is transactional. I can do this for you if you can or will do that for me. Our society teaches us that if we can't get some benefit out of a relationship, then it has no value. Our society says that we don't get to know people for the sake of who they are or being in community. We are networking or making connections. And a business network is all about transactions. In a transactional economy, others are not seen as humans. They are seen as commodities, assets, stepping stones. True generosity is grounded in relationship. True generosity is grounded in relationship. In our wisdom reading today, Kimmerer explores the nature of a gift economy. Everything, everyone is a gift. Gifts from the earth, other people and communities. These are not commodities, but instead they are gifts imbued with divine presence. I know in the past I've mentioned the Jewish philosopher Martin Buber. His core writings centered around developing I-thou relationships with creation and with every creature, human and non-human alike. I-thou as opposed to I-it. it being an object that's not on equal footing with us. If we see others, all of creation, every creature as thou, then we recognize the divine essence in them and treat them with deep respect. Now, if someone operates from only a transactional perspective, then all of creation and other creatures are viewed as objects, and they only have value if they can do something for us. Imagine looking at a natural wilderness largely untouched by human hands. When we gaze upon that area, do we see fossil fuel that will benefit us in some way? Or do we see a gift of the universe, one deserving of respect? In a transactional economy, there is always a sense of scarcity. Fear is the foundation. Things are in limited supply, and we are in competition with others to get that in which we find value. And I'm sure some of us remember the early days of the pandemic and this mindset of scarcity, that there wasn't enough to go around, whether it was toilet paper or something else. And perhaps we even saw some of the news accounts of people having fights in stores over toilet paper or diapers. Now, there's a story in the New Testament that relates to an economy of generosity. Jesus, as a Jewish rabbi, was teaching to a crowd of thousands, and the day was getting long, and people were hungry. Jesus' closest friends told him about this concern, and so he asked, well, let's find out who has food to share. Only one young boy came forward. He had 2 barley loaves and 5 fishes, which are probably kind of those sardine-type preserved fish. So Jesus instructed his closest friends to give those out to this crowd of thousands. And then everyone ate and had their full. And then there were 12 baskets left over of food. Now, a number of biblical scholars have written about a miracle taking place that day, but the miracle was not that food was miraculously multiplied. It was that everyone actually had food with them, but they had been too scared to share it, operating out of fear and a model of scarcity, believing if they pulled out the food when people were asking who has food, that they themselves would be without and would not have enough. Many scholars believe that the miracle that took place that day with the feeding of the thousands was really an economy of generosity. That people decided to share and trust that everyone would have enough, everything would be provided. An economy of generosity instead of an economy of scarcity and transactions. Now, I'll conclude today with a quote from Parker Palmer in his book, Let Your Life Speak. I'm going to recommend that book. I'm recommending books today, but it's a very small, powerful book I've read several times. And he writes these words: in the human world, abundance does not happen automatically. It is created when we have the sense to choose community, to come together, to celebrate, and to share our common store. Whether the scarce resource is money, or love, or power, the true law of life is that we generate more of whatever seems scarce by trusting its supply and sharing it around. Authentic abundance is not found in secured stockpiles of food or cash or influence or affection. Authentic abundance is found in belonging to a community where we can give those goods to others who need them and receive them from others when we are in need. Community does not just create abundance. Community is abundance. If we could learn that equation from the world of nature, the human world might be transformed. Today, I invite us to choose community, to choose generosity, and abundance will flow. May it be so. Amen. Thank you so much, Susan Nami, always so very generous, the wonderful gift of music. So during this month of our pledge campaign, and our pledge campaign does end a week from tomorrow, where we hope to have pledges from all of our members, which will help us as we set our budget for next year. But during this time, we are having different members from our church come forward and to share a generosity moment, to share what they love about Piedmont, why they're here, why they support it. Today we have one of our newest members who's become very involved, and Scott Himmelrich is going to come and share with us. So thank you, Scott.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Lighting the flame for tomorrow. This is what this means to me. We light a flame every Sunday when we light the chalice, or on our birthdays, or many other meaningful occasions. The action of lighting a flame is very symbolic here at Piedmont UU Church. The flame symbolizes our family's spiritual intention to grow and prosper. I believe in this commitment. My little chalice given to me when I became a new member about 6 weeks ago sits on my work desk at home. Every morning starts at my work desk. Coffee, breakfast, maybe not some important news or crazy news, but starting my day. That chalice is lit while I read a daily affirmation that's come to me through email or one of my books. This is in alignment with my ritual healing and manifestation of intentions and about the financial well-being of our congregation. The pledge campaign, Lighting the Flame for Tomorrow, began a few weeks ago and continues through tomorrow. This is our campaign of intention in our community's action to ensure our congregation's future. Our collective pledges will compensate staff fairly and justly, support our communities, continue our fight for social justice, and ensure that next year's goals will be met. As many of you know, I'm new to Charlotte. I lived here for now over 2.5 years. I love it more as time goes on as I find my people and my family. I'm in recovery. This has taught me the importance of asking for help and knowing I can't live alone. This is one of the perils of addiction, isolation. When I came to Charlotte, I jumped into my recovery, going to 12-step programs, non-12-step programs, finding my foundation. My expectation was to build a foundational support structure for sobriety and make new friends. I've been surprised and challenged by establishing close relationships. But things are improving slowly with a bit more effort, and especially since I've become a member of this church. For over the past 2 years, my addiction to Trader Joe's around the corner had me passing by the church and consistently seeing the rainbow flag outside of this church. The flag spoke to me loudly as time went on, and I had to ask myself, you're in recovery, you've been vulnerable in front of strangers, why are you shy? And it's still talking to you and getting louder and louder. What's the big deal? I came to my first service in March or April of this year. From the first few moments I entered the building, I felt love, respect, and a genuine interest in who I was as an individual. On my first visit, I was also asked by members what my background was. Well, my initial couple of responses were, I'm German, Italian, and Spanish. And then I realized after a couple of the same questions, they were actually inquiring about my spiritual journey, which led me to here because they shared that after my response of my heritage. Got on point real quick. Then I realized just how unaccustomed I was to being in a church environment. It's been many years. Does anyone remember being a new member when the new members were inducted in July and I just decided to get right up front here because I wanted to be a new member? And I was like kind of about 2 minutes into that, and I knew I wasn't supposed to be up here, and Amy politely said, I'll speak with you after the service. And then she was very nice to say, don't worry, it's not the first time. Other members came up and said, we love the enthusiasm. Currently, as a new member, I want to point out the importance of the church to me personally and how I've seen action taken that result in immeasurable results. Recently on the news, I heard Medicaid expansion for North Carolina was passed. I participated in the Stop Gambling with Our Lives and the call-in blitz to our state legislature for the medical expansion. I smiled and thought, my new family made this happen or helped make it happen. I couldn't be more filled with gratitude and sense of purpose, putting to practice one of our principles, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. On a very special note, many of you know I've had health scares throughout the summer. In my recovery training, we're taught to advise our family and chosen family about the support we need. In recovery, one of the most important lessons you learn is to stay connected. The amount of support, love, offers to visits, cards in the mail, food brought to me from this congregation, from the care team, was overwhelming. Only a handful of my close friends and several in recovery knew about my hospitalizations. Even a few weeks ago, when I came back to the church after having a short stint again in the hospital, people were coming up to me, are you all right? Are you all right? Like the whole congregation knew, and I'm like, most of my friends don't even know all of this. Since I've joined the church, good things have also happened as well. Recently, I was selected for a new role at my current employer, Bank of America. I started this past week. I also got to attend the Pride Festival when my friend Norm and I volunteered at our booth. Norm and I had been around the LGBTQIA+. We keep on adding them. We've been in that world for many decades. So In attending the booth, we had a blast watching many of the young participants, and we reminisced about our own shenanigans decades ago in larger cities. The amount of people that came to the booth and said thank you for being here was very touching. This church has helped me so much in such a short period of time without even knowing me. I've been given unconditional love, and more importantly, I have a healthy purpose in my life to be a family member of this congregation, which is a foundational key element in supporting my recovery. Purpose. I ask you to join me in pledging, because it takes each and every pledge to ensure that together, as a family, we are lighting the flame for tomorrow. Every pledge does count. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. It was beautiful. So now is our time for giving, and let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. This month, we're sharing our offering plate with the Cabarrus Pet Society. The Cabarrus Pet Society is a nonprofit animal rescue organization that has been working since 2002 to rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome abandoned, abused, sick, and neglected animals through their foster home system. They also educate the community on issues related to responsible pet ownership. We ask that you place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room, or you can wait and drop it into one of the baskets as you leave our space. You're always welcome to give online at puuc.org or by texting PUUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now be received very gratefully.
We give thanks for your ongoing generosity and for generous hearts which are helping to change and transform our world for the better. I invite us now to please stand as we are willing or able for our closing hymn found in our gray hymnal, number 331, Life is the Greatest Gift of All. Before we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks for all the many volunteers who helped make our service possible, and special thanks for our music today, Susan and Nami, and always Ann. Before you leave this space today, I ask that you will please place your hymnals back on the cart near the piano, and that will help us. We end today, as we always do, by taking time to give thanks. So I invite you now at this time to share thanks. You may either speak with words or hold things in your hearts, the things for which you are grateful today.
My beautiful wife.
Beautiful wife. Yes, Isabel.
For healing, I walked over a mile yesterday on this foot.
Yes. Karen's foot is healing. Yes, very great.
Community.
Community.
By parents that help other people.
Parents that help other people. It's a great thing. New members, yes.
The staff at my veterinarian's office.
Staff at the veterinarian's office, yes.
For Scott sharing with us today.
Yeah, for Scott sharing Scott's presence.
I'm glad Myrna came back from the beach.
Carl is very glad Myrna came back from the beach, and Myrna, we're all very glad you're here too. So,
I'm thankful that we had a birthday yesterday, not at my house. Winnie the Pooh was born in 1926, and as far as I know, is still with us.
wow. Frank is thankful for the birthday of Winnie the Pooh, born in 1926. Oh. I know we are all grateful for these things, which, and so much more, which we hold in our hearts today. Let us go forth in a spirit of generosity, expecting nothing in return, and sharing the spirit of love with all around us, knowing that many wonderful gifts do return to us. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light, its warmth, and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace. Wherever we wander, may it be so. Now for our closing hymn, we traditionally form a circle. And if you are comfortable holding hands, we invite you to do so. If you'd rather simply stand in the circle, you can just place a hand on your heart. So.
Winnie the Pooh has got a lot of deep thoughts. Thank you for that. Okay, what's the beach?
And thank you for this.